Welcome back to my animal education series. Now today I'm not exactly teaching you about any kind of animal here, but I'm finally giving you guys an update on the bioactive tank that I built a long time ago. I think the last update video that I did for this was 8 months ago. And obviously 8 months has given this tank a lot of time to grow. But mostly during that time it didn't do a whole lot of growing. There's just something wrong with the tank that I really couldn't figure out. I really got to work on this tank and then another tank I'm going to show you guys here soon. And I was able to finally figure out things in this tank. For starters, the water leak. Did I figure that out? No. I'm just ignoring it because if I don't see it, it's not there. Right here, you can see the top of the plexiglass and then the water level. And then over there, pardon the silicone on the glass, I wasn't exactly too careful. You could tell how much higher the plexiglass is over there than right here. So I'm believing I just didn't put enough silicone over there because in these tanks there's a little bit of silicone that adheres the glass to each other on the top and the sides. If you look closely, really closely here, besides the awful reflection, you can see these are kind of two different shades because this is where the water level is. I thought the issue was the stream the entire time, but it wasn't. It was a leak over on that side. So this past week actually I finally started running this stream consistently, which I'll get better shots of here in a second. So now all of this is filled with water. So I haven't really watered this tank that much because all the plant roots are already down to this level and they're watering themselves. I've actually noticed the roots on, I believe it's that plant there. Yeah, it's that plant. The roots have actually shrunk some to not taking as much water, which I thought was interesting because I could see them on the backside, but there's definitely not enough space for the camera back there. But let me give you a walk around of this tank here, kind of show you what has changed since you guys have seen it last. For starters, it's working. There's a water level here and it's been consistent for a couple of days now. I got plenty of duckweed and water lettuce in here, which survived the long car ride down here. And this all doing great. The water lettuce isn't repopulating as much as it did. There's a lot of it in the last tank, but I honestly like more the duckweed than the water lettuce because the root system in that just kind of clumped everything together and it was actually kind of a pain to take the tank apart to move it down here. I'm finally putting an animal in this thing. The stream here, let me open up the lid. It looks amazing. I love how that's finally turning out. You can see a little bit of plastic there, but I'm personally not too concerned about it because I'm the only one that comes to my room, so I am the only one that sees it. The dirt is kind of saturated there, so I'm trying to figure out how to not make it as damp, but I originally built this tank for fire-bellied toads, and they like it a bit damp and higher humidity, so that's not too much of a problem I'm noticing so far. The air plant has grown a whole lot. Nothing really has changed in the hardscape, except for when I put it all together. What I did is, the first time around is I did the styrofoam and I put all the rocks and stuff onto the styrofoam with the plastic. But this time around I just put the plastic and the rocks in the dirt and there's a pile of rocks under that. Back in here, I will take this lid off and I will show you guys more in detail what my dad and I did back here. This is actually a much better angle for filming with the lid off, I've realized now. But once you get down here you can see the stream and how cool this looks to me. But we have this little stick in there and I realized that with that branch it's going to be kind of difficult to film down in here. But what we have is the tube from the filter, which is actually hiding behind another one of these small filters here, which is blocking a lot of the plants from going in there. But the filter, or the little pump, is right in there and the tube goes from there behind the fern down underground and it pops up right here and it's shooting into this slate rock that's right there. Let me see if I can kind of get angle from the back. Nope, because we put a rock there too. It has been a while since I've actually looked at this. But it's shooting into the rock there, which is slowing down the current. And then my dad and I took a lot of time to put rocks into this stream to kind of slow the flow down to where it's not rippled like that the entire way down. Because what I wanted to give is the mossy frogs a little pool of water that they can go to that's moving on the stream here. That's not the large thing there, which shouldn't have been too much of a concern, but it's really one of the things I wanted to focus on because it adds character to the stream. So right here We slowed it down a lot, so there's a nice little pool of water there. All the plants are doing super well. This is one of the plants that wasn't doing too hot for a while, and it's starting to do good now, but these little tips here are starting to crisp up because it's really close to the light here. Pretty much all the plants, all the moss right here is doing really well. It's a nice blanket right there. And another one of my favorite features of as the stream comes out through here, it's creating this nice little flow right here, right around the log, and then right down that way. And I think that's super cool. As much as I say that, one thing that I'm really excited for on this tank is to finally put animals in it. So I got some shrimp to put in this. So I'm going to go ahead and let them sit in the water in their bag to kind of get used to the water temperature before I put them in. And then I'm going to give them about 10-15 minutes, and then while they're sitting in the water getting up to temperature, then I'm going to show you guys the other tank, which I've never shown you on the channel yet. In the bag I have 3 blue velvet shrimp. I was going to get some, I don't really to say plain, but some red shrimp. But I saw these guys, and they were conveniently on sale at the local pet store I go to. And I like sales, and I like saving money, and I like shrimp. So here we have some blue shrimp. I tried to film them in the bag, but they were not cooperating, especially with the light bouncing off the bag. But once I put them in there, I will be sure to show you guys them. But while that's going on, let me move the tripod and some other stuff out of the way, and let me show you this other tank. Now I understand that was a lot of talking, and I do apologize about that, but if anyone's setting up a similar tank on their own, they could learn from the kind of mistakes that I made here. I went ahead and took the lid off, which I'm now realizing is a mistake with Mr. Escape Artist here. But kind of get a better look in there, pardon the really bright light. And today isn't exactly feeding day, but I was bored, so I went and got the shrimp, and I got the crickets that they need. So at the time of filming, it is Thursday, and they usually eat on Saturday or Sunday, so I went ahead and got an extra dozen crickets for them. And I'm going to make sure this little guy up here doesn't jump out. He loves trying to escape though. But one thing he loves more than that is food. Okay, apparently not right now because he's camera shy, I guess. But what I do is I just dump 4 or 5 dozen crickets in the tank, and they just hunt them themselves over the next week before I go and pick up another 4 or 5 dozen. And make sure that they don't sit in one spot and I just feed them, where some frogs can kind of get fat like that. And I want these guys to work for their food so that they don't get fat and cause any other health issues. Now he's spotting a cricket, so he's going after it. But without further ado, let's get right over here to the shrimp, because I'm really excited. I've wanted to have some sort of animal in this for a while now, and I never did it. And I got bored, went and bought some shrimp, and here we are. So these little boogers are in here somewhere, right in the bottom. It's gonna be really hard to see this. I'm dragging duckweed everywhere. Luckily, it breathes really fast. I'm gonna put the camera down, make sure they're all out of the bag, and then try to get some clips of them. Now I know I did a lot of talking and not a whole lot of seeing my face in today's video, which is either a good thing or a bad thing depending on who you are. But I really wanted to give you guys a full thorough update of the 55-gallon tank. It's not even really an update, I just kind of told you guys about a tank that I was going to do, but I never did, and here we are. I showed you guys what it is. If anything changes to it, like anything serious, I might do an update video on it. Anything that's worthy of a 6-7 minute video. And this one here, obviously you guys haven't been updated in 8 months, but on the theme of being bored, I was bored last night, so I went to Josh's Frogs website and I impulse bought some more plants. So that's going to be in the last part of this video, because there's no point making a video just to put in 2 more plants. But really quickly, I am really happy to finally put some life into this tank besides the plants. And they're already going about exploring, obviously, because they've only been in this thing for 15 or 20 minutes now. But there's a lot of food for them, and these guys will actually eat small pieces of vegetables. If you cut them up, boil them for, I believe it is 2 minutes, and then put them in the ice water to stop where they don't cook, but you can put them in there, leave them in there overnight or over a day, and then take the food back out again. They'll eat all of that stuff. So it's not really that hard to take care of these guys. I did a lot of research before I did it because I didn't want to end up with an animal that I had no clue how to take care of, and then it died because I didn't know what I was doing. That's what you guys should do as well. If you guys are looking at new plants or animals, just do your research. So, one, you're not wasting money on animals or plants, and then two, so the animal or plant doesn't have to die because you didn't exactly know everything about it. That's just smart practice, kind of get used to it. My dad and I have been doing that for many years, so we kind of got it in the flow. It is actually the very next day, and the shipping was surprisingly quick, so I'm not complaining about that at all. I got an email this morning saying that it was going to be here tomorrow, and then got an email 2 hours later saying that it arrived at my doorstep. And I didn't yet open it, but I got my package from Josh's Frogs with my plants in it. But I'm going to get a shot of what this one is here. So this is a plant that's going to get about 1 to 3 inches tall, sometimes 4, but rarely is it that tall. I got all this information from Josh's Frogs. I'm not a plant genius by any means. It's a nice small plant, and it can withstand the bright light, which is good in this tank because it's going to be right there in the open. And same thing with this plant as well. This plant will get about 4 to 12 inches. I'm going to make sure it's focusing on the plant, not my face. And this is another one that is good for the temperatures I have in here and for the bright light that it will have. So I'm going to go rinse all that off, rinse off any other contaminants that I might not want in my tank, and then I will see you guys again when I'm putting the plants in the tank. So thank you guys so much for watching this week's video. I really enjoyed putting these plants and the shrimp into this tank and showing you guys finally the 55-gallon tank that I've not really hidden from the channel for so long, but I just never put it on the channel and never really did the build video on it that I wanted to do. But before we go, the last little thing I forgot to tell you guys about, or forgot to remind myself to show you, is the fogger that I put on here. I bought this on Amazon for I think 70 bucks, and it puts this nice fog over the entire enclosure. I have it going back behind the the plant lights, and it goes down on the land side and kind of makes its way down over to the water side, and it boosts the humidity in there. But again, thank you guys so much for watching this week's video. Don't forget to leave a big thumbs up down below, subscribe to my channel, and as always, I will see you next week.